Good morning, people. So yesterday I posted a video, I think Saturday, about the cost of the price of a chicken. And I said that I would update everybody and tell you what I'm doing. So last night we had the baked chicken. We had baked potatoes, the chicken, a can of corn, salad. Salad's kind of expensive if you think about it because you've got to buy all the pieces. Squash, because I love squash. I'm the only one who eats it. And I think that's it that we had for dinner. So anyway, so this is the nothing but the carcass. So I saved the carcass. Let me see if I can get that in there. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. So that's the carcass. This is the other rest of the carcass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil it, as I did, in just water. And then I'm going to come in here and scrape off all the pieces of meat that you normally don't get off your chicken. Because I'm going to make either chicken soup, chicken and dumplings, or I'm going to make a pot pie. I just haven't decided yet. So what I did with the rest of it is I have a bag of stuffing, and I'll show you what I made. This will go in the dinner because I have to go to work today, and this will be for my husband to make. So it almost looks like dessert, doesn't it? That is cream of chicken soup with some milk or heavy cream and chopped chicken. That's all that's in that top part. And then in the bottom was a box as a bag of stuffing. And I sauteed some mushrooms and some onions and a tiny bit of green pepper. Don't tell my husband I put green pepper in there. And then I made it with that. And what I did was last night when I took the chicken out of the oven, I cooked it in a glass container, kind of like this but bigger. So this is the chicken fat, okay? So I already took the bottom off. I pour everything in there, and then with this is the fat, and I put it in the fridge. And overnight at the bottom, I was able to scoop the top off because it'll separate in the fridge. And I'll save this top fat for frying potatoes, or for instance, I use my mother-in-law's stuffing recipe, and she calls for a stick of butter. Well, a stick of butter is just fat. And so instead of using fat, I took a quarter cup of the chicken fat and I melted it and I put it in the stuffing mix. And then I put bacon in there. I always put meat in there because that's what my mother-in-law does. But as you can see, the bottom scrapings are what I got off of the pan from the baked chicken. And that was on the bottom of the fat. Now I'll use that chicken fat that's in the fridge. I'll use that for frying potatoes. I'll use it for when my dogs have to take medicine and they don't want to eat their dinner, to put maybe a tablespoon on top of their food. Then they're very interested in eating when you put something like that on there. And it makes their coat look good. So, yeah, this I'm going to be adding some veggies to. So after last night's dinner now, I've got a casserole, which that's Jack. My husband loves leftovers. So there's only 4 of us. This will feed us for day and a half, depending on how much my husband eats tonight. Depends on how much he likes it. If it were just Stephanie and I'd have to put it in 2 pans and freeze one. But this will last. This is one more meal. And then this, regardless of whether or not it's soup or chicken pot pie or chicken and dumplings, this is going to be 3 meals. So I'm literally getting 3 meals already. And then I still have this leftover chicken. So this is either going to be chicken salad for sandwiches or just a snack throughout the day when we want something to eat. So I know that the chicken was expensive, but at the same time, $12 worth of meat got me 1, 2, 3, definitely 4, maybe 5 meals for a family. I'm going to count my husband as a family of 4 because he really does eat 2 people. That's not bad. When you divide that, even 4 meals for 4 people by $12, you're getting pretty good at your skimping and your saving. But you've got to really start paying attention to, years ago I would have just thrown that away. I wouldn't even thought twice about it. I never would have thought to do this and make that. But that's a whole nother meal to save. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and write down my list of stuff. And then you guys can look at it. And I'll take a video of the list of things that I've used for these 3 meals. Just the ingredients. I don't have the prices for everything yet. Unlike what I did with the cookies on Saturday. I haven't broken this down price-wise yet. Because some of the stuff, like I had onion that was in the house that I grew, so I can't count that. This chicken was one I grew that we butchered. So I can't really add in that cost. So it's a little bit hard. I could go buy what you would pay at the grocery store. That's the only way I can compare things for you. So I will get that all wrapped up. I'll write it up. I didn't want to leave a long video today. I just wanted a really short one to show you how this inflation thing is going to kill us all, and we're going to have to start finding. And the problem is that, your box mixes are going to be just as important. Stuffing. This was the stuffing bag I used. I leave my bags out and I use it to put other stuff in. So this is what I had. I bought it when it was on sale. And I normally buy like 4 bags when it's on sale. But you could make this. You could so easily make this. So when you go to the grocery store, instead of go through the discount bakery section. And lots of times they have like day-old bread or, bread that's a day or two old that you can buy for, 25, 30, 50 cents. If you have an oven, you have a dehydrator. You don't need to go out and spend a lot of money for a dehydrator. You're going to come up, if you want to make your own stuffing, you can take the bread, you can butter it a little bit, you could spray oil on it, you could leave it dry, put it on a cookie sheet, spread it out, put your oven at 200, put your bread in there, and you're just going to let it go till it starts to get a little bit brown. And now you have croutons. You're going to pull it out. You can chop it up and do it that way. I like to do mine whole in a bread, in the whole slice, because I like to break it up with my hands to check the texture and make sure there's not a lot of moisture in it. The more moisture you have in your stuffing, the less likely it is it's going to last and not mold. You don't want it to mold, so you're going to want to make sure you get it dry. So when you have to crumble it with your fingers, you'll know that the dry texture is super dry and will stay. And you can take it and throw it in the freezer. You could put it in a bag and throw it in the fridge. You could, if you have a food saver, you could go ahead and fill your bag, suck all the air out, and save it that way. So you could just make it for this week. So if you knew that you were going to go ahead and do it, let's say that you already paid for the chicken with the first meal. If you made your own bread, let's say you paid $2 for the stuff, or $1 for the stuffing because you got the bread and you made it yourself, you chopped it up and put it in the oven. You're at a meal that now is costing you maybe $5 a meal for 4 people. And that's almost $1 a meal. You're not going to find it that cheap. So not even at McDonald's for their $1 meal anymore. I think they're going to be $1.50 meals here. So that's all I've got for you guys on this time. And I know it's a really short video, but I promised that I would show you how I was going to take this chicken. And when I talked about the cookies on Saturday and how I was going to run my chicken as far out as I possibly could. So if I make anything else with this, I'll put it in the show notes so that you guys can see what you did. But yeah, see, I'm just going to sit here and I let this boil. You don't want to boil the meat too long, but all that stuff I'll skim off the top, the fat chunks, and that'll go for the dogs. So the only thing I'm going to throw away are the bones, because cooked bones aren't good for dogs. But if those bones weren't cooked, I'd give them to the dogs too. And we will have used every single piece possible off this chicken. So, all right guys, have a good afternoon. I hope that helped.